Hello everyone, welcome to the first patch note review for set 9. Runeterra Reforged, of course. Teamfight tactics. You know the gist. Video's off to a great start already. Anyways, Teamfight Tactics patch 13.13 is now here, and with it comes hopefully a flurry of changes. I've barely seen anything about the patch notes. I've heard through the grapevine a few changes, but there's a lot. I mean, it's a huge patch, so let's just jump right into it. Welcome to our first patch of Runeterra Reforged. We've got lots going on. Rework for Shurima. Nerfs to some of the biggest summons, Baron and T-Hex. Okay, deserved. Champion buffs, sweeping augment balance. Okay. Well, let's just start with the patch highlights. So they're buffing Ionia Strategist Targon. Reasonable, I think. And then 59 augments are being buffed. All of these champions are being buffed. I see Gwen is there. Sejuani is interesting. Shen is also interesting to me. Aatrox, Bel'Veth, Rise. Yeah, they were barely seeing any play. Adjusted, Void, Ginsu's, Kaisa, Sona. Yeah, I knew a Ginsu change would probably be coming. Nerfs to Zaun and Piltover, which is pretty reasonable, I think. Nerfs to all these champions. Tristana reroll, huge. Echo reroll, huge. Garen reroll, huge. Aphelios and Zeri. Yeah, I mean, those are like the two best 4 costs so far in the first patch. 40 augments nerfed, including Honor Roll, and Starter Kit, and Gifts from the Fallen. Everyone saw that coming. Reworked, Shurima, and Caretaker's Chosen. I'm also not sure if all of the patch notes are here. I think these should be all the official patch notes, but I know Mortdog said that there are some major last-minute hotfixes that might not have been included, so we'll see. Mostly because there's a bit of new meta that just developed over the past day in the previous patch with Bastion being overly abused. I think there are some nerfs to Locket of the Iron Solari as well, and I'm not sure if that'll be here, but if not, then I will leave those down in the comments below or description, a link to Mortdog's Twitter with those additional changes. Let's see, Chibi Aatrox, yeah, whatever, Chibi Aatrox, I'm just waiting for Chibi Gwen. System changes. Okay, so this is pretty huge. Base stage 4 damage is going down from 5 to 4. The games are just going way too fast. This was actually a change that they made during PvE, so now it's being undone. So that's pretty big in terms of letting players survive longer in the game. That should be interesting. Large changes. Region portals, House Light Shield. Okay, so tick rate for all stats is 1 to 2 seconds. Health tick is 1% to 2% max health. Okay, so this is just in reference to the crown that you get for House Light Shield. House Light Shield being one of the portals of Demacia, where if it's chosen, then everyone is offered a crown that they can put on a unit. If the crowned unit dies, then you automatically lose the fight. Traits. Challenger struggles to be more than 2 for support piece. Yeah, makes sense. I rarely saw anyone go 6 or 8 Challenger. I think making multiple Challenger spats was basically a gig of grief. Ionia 9. So this is just kind of the rundown of what they felt about everything. So let's just skim over this. Nerf Piltover, yep. Empire Shurima Rise of the rework, okay. Increasing the uptime on bonus damage of Slayers. Okay, Targon is almost a non-trait. Yeah, that's true. Void is insane, so see what happens. Bastion, Armor, and MR is being nerfed at all levels besides 2. So at 4, 6, and 8, it is being nerfed by about... It's 10, and then 20, and then 10 again for the 4, 6, and 8. That's a pretty good change, because you have to remember that the Bastion units also gain double the armor and MR for the first 10 seconds of battle. Challenger attack speed is basically unchanged until 8, so they're only... sorry. They're buffing it at 6 and 8. Not sure if this buff is going to be enough, but it also does get doubled following a takedown, so maybe this is enough to push some 6 or 8 Challenger strats, as well as the nerfs to other traits. Any bonus stats, so 325 at 9 Ionia. I rarely saw anyone hit 9 Ionia. It's pretty difficult to get. You need spat plus all 9 slots, so getting to level 9. We'll see if the HP changes or the damage changes will make a difference there. Gunner 80 per stack is getting nerfed, makes sense. Gunners were pretty powerful. Piltover T-Hex Health per power is going down by 15, which is pretty huge. T-Hex, base armor, and MR also going down by 5. That's huge. TX now gains a heap of bonus stats at 100 power, 14 loss streak rather than 70. So that means you'll need to get to 100 power before it's Giga Strong, plus all these extra nerfs. So that means like a 30 or 40 power T-Hex probably shouldn't be as 1v9 as it is right now. Or it was. I think the patch is currently happening as I'm recording this video, so... Buff the following cash outs, 9 to 12, okay, 13 to 17. So they did buff the cash outs. So the main issue with T-Hex during the initial patch, which I don't think that the team really foresaw, was that no one was actually selling the T-Hex and everyone was just playing it as this huge powerhouse unit. And that was kind of problematic because, well, obviously the T-Hex was just overtuned. It was just way too tanky, did way too much damage. But now maybe people will actually cash out the T-Hex instead of just keeping it the entire game and using it as kind of their win condition. Piltover double up, okay. Piltover double up, okay. No one cares. Shurima. The Sun Disc no longer replaces the second heal pulse with the Ascension pulse at Shurima 3 and 5. The heal pulse and Ascension will now happen together. Okay, 7 Shurima now also boosts Ascension bonuses by 20%. That's nice. Means that vertical Shurima should be a lot better. Shurima 9 now additionally ascends a second time after 8 seconds. Ascension bonuses are, instead of being plus 125%, are now 25%. Total Ascension power is 25% to 130 plus 130 equals 260. Okay. So the first Ascension will be weaker, but after the second Ascension, it'll be stronger than the current 9 Ascension. Slayer health threshold for double bonus damage is going from 60 to 75, which is a pretty huge change. I mean, the only real major Slayer carries right now are probably Gwen and maybe Aatrox. This might help Gwen, along with the Gwen buffs that we'll see later, kind of come back as an actual comp. Maybe we'll see more Shadow Isle, more Vertical Slayer even. Strategist Shield is getting buffed at 5 Strategist, okay. And the Strategist AP is also getting buffed at 4 and 5 Strategist. So not bad. I mean, Strategists right now are a little weak. I mean, we'll see if this actually makes a huge difference. Maybe it will with all this other Shurima. But normally if you're playing Shurima and you're going for 7 Shurima, it's kind of hard to fit in more than one Strategist. Targon healing and shielding increase is going from 1830 and 50 to 20, 40, and 70. So that means that at 2... Oh yeah, so at 2, 3, and 4 Targon, the increase is pretty massive now. Void, Rift Herald, Void Charge base damage is increasing, so they're making Rift Herald stronger, but they're making Baron weaker here. So Baron base health going down, fight damage going down significantly, and yeah, so nerf to Baron, a slight buff to Void, to Rift Herald, a pretty reasonable buff, I guess. So maybe this will allow people to play Void without having to commit to finding an emblem or having to play Earth as their legend. Because right now it feels difficult to kind of play Void and expect to really win lobbies unless you hit the Void emblem, which, yeah, it definitely turns a lot of people off playing the comp. Zon, adaptive implant overcharge stat increase, nerf, okay. Zon exoskeleton armor and MR, nerf. Robotic arm chance to proc, buff. Robotic arm overcharge true damage, buff. Virulent Bioware, nerf. Okay, so they're nerfing Zeri with the Virulent Bioware. Robotic arm, it was a pretty mediocre Zon augment. It was okay for Zeri if you didn't get Virulent Bioware. Maybe this will help. Exoskeleton nerf makes sense on Echo and on Urgot. It was pretty powerful. And adaptive implant overcharge stat increase down to 60%, also pretty reasonable. It was still pretty strong. Alright, so that looks like all of the trait changes. Now we head into, or the large trait changes, now we head into the units. Giving Kale a 10% damage buff to make sure she fulfills her design goal of being a viable late game carry at level 6 and 9 despite being a 1 cost. Oriana is neither a real girl nor a real 3-star champion, let's change those. one of those. So Kale is doing increased damage at all levels with her Ascent on hit damage. It's interesting though, because I have been seeing quite a bit of like Kale with this new Bastion setup, where you just play infinite frontline and then the Kale just comes in over time with the double Ginsu, but we'll see what the Ginsu changes do with that. Irelia bonus MR and armor getting nerfed makes sense. Irelia 2 was just way too strong as an early game tank. Increase to MR and armor was insane, plus it gets doubled, maybe even tripled when Ionia is active. Orianna Command Protect Shield Power is getting buffed at 3-star, and her damage is also getting buffed at all levels, so that's pretty interesting. Orianna right now basically only seen if you need her for 8 Sork or for early game Piltover. Other than that, I don't think she's that real. But I guess this is trying to change that. Tristana 4-star attacks per Mega Shot 8 to 10. So this is a nerf on Tristana's 4-star Ricochet shot, where every 8 attacks, now 10, she'll fire like a large shot, yeah, Mega Shot. But that's pretty interesting that that's the only nerf that they're doing to her. I guess besides that, nothing else really needs to be nerfed. Maybe this will make it so that people start building Guinsoo on Tristana, but it also depends on the other nerfs to the champions from the composition. Okay, tier 2. Ashe, Kled, Irelia, Taliyah, Teemo. Okay, Ashe Volley 80% is scaling now instead of just being stuck at 110%. Galio Shield of Durand damage reduction is also increased at level 3 now. Skarl Self Shield is going down to 30% max HP, so I guess the data was showing that Kled was actually shielding way too much, which is interesting. Set Ionia bonus, 180 HP to 200 HP, pretty good buff. 20 extra HP plus the doubled when Ionia set, or when the enlightenment happens. Taliyah base seismic shove damage is going down at all levels. Seismic shove boulder damage is going down at level 3, so this is to target the Taliyah reroll comp that was running around. Teemo noxious trap damage going down at all levels by a decent margin. Also multicaster reroll or Teemo reroll. Units tier 3. Echo, deceptively tanky, that's true. Sona could not be doing more damage than Vel'Koz. Okay, or should not be, but has been, okay. Taric, a light mana buff, okay. So Echo phase dive heal percent is being cut by 10%, that's pretty huge. Right now, you just build double Hodge plus Jeweled Gauntlet, and Echo basically takes no damage, or he takes the damage and then he heals it back up and one-shots your carry. So that's a good change. Garen Judgment base attacks per spin, so 2 to 1.8. Judgment attack speed per spin, 0.5 to 0.55. AD ratio also getting nerfed at 2 and 3-star. So Garen just nerfs all around, stopping the spin to win tactics with triple Zeke's Herald, or quadruple or sextuple, however many Zeeks you want to stack on him. Sona Crescendo damage is getting nerfed. Sona Crescendo attack speed is getting buffed, so she is becoming more of a support unit. I guess at 3-star it doesn't change, but this should help people splash in more Sona. Although, I guess there are no Vel'Koz changes, so maybe the multicaster reroll strat is still alive, just with more focus on Vel'Koz as the carry instead of Sona. Taric max mana buff, okay, so 40 out of 100 to 40 out of 90, not a huge deal. Gwen couldn't even beat Paper, let her run rock. Okay, so she's the worst performing 4 cost. That is, I guess, not too surprising. Slayer's a really awkward trait to have active, and then Shadow Isles is decent, but I think she's just being outperformed by everyone else. She is the only kind of like backline die 4 cost right now, aside from J4, but J4 is not really made to do damage, he's just there for CC. So let's see what the buffs are. Johnny and Shen. Alright, so making a 3-star investment, okay, sure. Zeri, yeah. Aphelios Chakram AD ratio, 10-10-40 to 8-8-40, so Yeah, it makes sense. I mean, they're just nerfing his damage at 1 and 2 star. Right now he's super strong. Gwen plus 100 HP and Snip Snip damage is going up at 1, 2, and 3 star. Pretty reasonable. I think it's just the biggest issue with Gwen is that she can either be the MVP of a fight with her targeting, or she can just kind of run it down, because once she dives past the backline, if she gets stuck on the frontline unit and the enemy backliner just starts targeting her, it's potentially lights out. In other situations, she just gets to run amok, so these changes should help her fulfill her role as a 4 cost, but we'll see. Kaisa fixed a bug where Kaisa could gain mana during her spell cast. Sure, he's probably mana locked now. Max mana buff, 50 out of 120 to 40 out of 110. Okay, so her first cast will still be the same delay, but her subsequent cast will come sooner. Sejuani passive true damage is buffed at 3 star. Buffs to Sejuani at 1, 2, and 3 star for the North damage. Gen key barrier damage is going up at all levels, and ally shield damage is also going up at 1 star and 3 star. Urgot mana nerf 0 out of 70 to 0 out of 100. Okay, I guess that's pretty reasonable. Right now Urgot can be a pretty big menace to enemy backlines, because once he jumps back or jumps past the front line, if he's positioned properly, then he's just one-shotting the enemy carry. That's never too fun, and there's not too much counterplay if you just put a mana item on him and full damage besides that. Zeri, Surge, Overcharge, AD ratio, everything's getting nerfed. Nice. Overcharge kills no longer reset the duration of Surge. That is pretty huge. Surge, Overcharge duration, 5 to 6 seconds. So they're making it so that she doesn't reset, which is huge. But she is overcharged for 1 extra second, which could still make the difference in some fights. But the AD ratio getting nerfed is pretty huge. We'll have to see how this shapes out, especially with the Piltover nerfs. Whether Zeri and Aphelios are still the de facto carries, or if we'll see more Urgot play. Like, the mana nerf is pretty big, but still not the worst thing for him. Maybe we'll see more Azir, Lux, Gwen. We'll just have to see when patch is live. Bel'Veth has 1 job and is granting me access to Baron. You never want to hear about a 5 cost being a trait bot, but we're finally able to budget more power for the queen herself. That's good. Aatrox buff to HP, Bel'Veth buff to HP, Bel'Veth 15 mana buff, not bad. Harbinger's Techno Genius self-repair upgrade duration 752 to 975. I think this is super reasonable. Right now, people are just stacking triple self-repair. Every 2 seconds, the turret just comes back up. It's no fun. This is pretty interesting. It does mean that if you want to invest a triple self-repair, it's going to cost a lot of gold for one thing, and it still takes a bit of time for the turret to come back up. It can't be a solo frontline. Rise. Piltover, max mana buff. Yeah, sure. Piltover targets his current target to target's largest clump. That is pretty huge. Right now, Piltover is kind of worthless. I mean, it kind of traps the enemy units, but it doesn't do too much if he's targeting a solo-sided tank or something. Shadow Isle. Rework. Okay, so currently Shadow Isle resurrects. What is this? Or it just resurrects any like random allies that have died, and if they haven't died yet, then it'll still remain. Now, marks the strongest 1, 1, or 10 ally souls to be reclaimed. After they die, they return to the battlefield. Okay. So, when he casts his ability, he marks the strongest ally, and then once they die, they'll return regardless of Rise is alive or not, is my assumption. So, that's nice. Let's see. Targon, the stun is removed, and there's just a knockup. Bandle City, mana is getting buffed from 40 out of 90 to 50 out of 75. And if there are no units left on your bench, Rise summons a random high-cost unit from the shop. Interesting. That's definitely... That's cool. That means that if you like have to like sell your bench to hit Rise 2, then you can still get stuff out of the shop, I guess. Over 100 augment changes, jeez. Buffing, nerfing the most under/overperformed legend options. Taking extra care of the legend augments, sure. Buried treasure, all tiers grant 1 gold with each item, sure. Buried treasure now starts granting items from the round the augment is selected. That's pretty huge. Right now, buried treasure feels really awkward. You have to wait an entire round. You're just playing down an augment for a round. Plus, like, I don't know, the components come so slowly. It's just always better to take something else generally. Teaming up replaced with seeing double. Seeing double, gain a random item made from 2 of the same component and 5 gold. Okay. Gain a random item, 8 gold. Gain 2 random items made from 2 of the same components and 3 gold. That's not bad. That's definitely interesting. So teaming up was the Zeke's Herald augment, if I recall correctly. So this just means that you'll either get a Rabadon's, a blue buff, blah 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 blah. That's pretty interesting. So that's how they're kind of handling the Zeke forcers, I guess. Balanced budget, 1 gold per turn. 4 to 5. Okay, balanced budget. Okay, so they're buffing balanced budget, which was the 3/2 Tom Kench augment. It just gives gold for the next X amount of rounds. Battle ready, 1 damage and damage. Okay, so they're nerfing battle ready. I guess it was overperforming. I didn't see too many people take this. I didn't see many people playing Master Yi, but it's reasonable. Final Ascension base damage down. That's good. Final Ascension is really strong if you get it, especially with the current Bastion setup, but as we said, Bastion is getting a bit nerfed and probably some items for it. Giant grab bag gold is down 3, sure. Knowledge download XP is getting buffed, so you'll get a decent chunk of extra XP for knowledge download. It pays to learn. XP and gold buffed. Okay, at 2 and 3. Medium forge gold down. Money gold is up. Money is up. Money is up as well. So this is the Tom Kench 4/2 augment. Just grants gold. And then I believe 4 turns later it grants the same amount of gold again. Partial Ascension damage increase is getting nerfed. Makes sense. Ascension of all kinds is just quite strong. Rolling for Days is getting buffed, so this is the Caitlyn, and I also believe Draven 4/2 augment. Guarantee. You just get a ton of free rolls. I don't know if this is enough to really justify playing either of those 2 legends, but we'll see. Small Forge Gold getting nerfed. Tiny Power is getting buffed. Training Reward is getting buffed at each level. Well-earned Comforts. HP per item is getting buffed. This is Ezreal's 4/2 augment. It just gives HP and attack speed per item equipped. Looks like Well-earned Comforts 3's attack speed per item is getting nerfed though. Okay. Augments Endless Hordes is back. Yeah. It gives you, I believe, 3 extra units on your field, but each of them can only have one. What is it? One item, but now they're coming in with reduced health and apparently additional gold. So does that mean they cost additional gold? Okay, let's see. All natural buff, sure. Army building buff. They're reducing the time by 1. Bronze ticket buff. Okay. Build diff and double trouble are mutually exclusive. So if you get one, you can't get the other. Huge. Component buffet also grants a random component, sure. Jeweled Lotus 1, crit 50%. Jeez, okay. It is only for the strongest unit. Latent Forge, so they're nerfing Latent Forge by 1 round. On a roll, limited to 2 free rolls per round. So this is huge. The current reason why everyone's playing Lee Sin, basically, is that on a roll basically gives you infinite rolls every single turn as long as you can hit pairs. This will make it so that you can only get it twice per round, meaning that you'll have to kind of space out your rolls. So it'll introduce a different type of gameplay for the early game at least, because maybe you'll prio eco a little less and prio getting these 2 free rolls a little more, because it's basically 4 golds worth of rolls. every round if you can get it. And I guess like the Luxac to Luxac, just get the natural 2 free rolls and be done with it. Red buff burn duration down by 3 seconds. Makes sense. Red buff is a really strong silver augment. Spells of war. Okay, unburdened. Unified resistance is getting nerfed at silver. A cut above. Chance to drop gold is down 10%. Adrenaline rush, max damage down 5%. Ancient archives gold up by 1. Built different 2 getting nerfed at all levels. Caretaker's favor. Gain a component anvil when you reach levels 5, 6, 7, and 8. So this is the big change for Caretaker's favor, which currently when you hit level 6 you gain a 2-star 3 cost, I believe, or depending on which it's also Bard's guaranteed 2/1 augment. So this will be interesting. You gain a component anvil when you reach each of these levels. Combat caster shield getting nerfed, makes sense. Ionia was really strong with it. Dueling gunners, base attack speed down to 10%. Dueling gunners, attack speed per stack down. Also, okay, Dueling Gunner is pretty strong. Early education, starting AP up by 5. Frequent Flyer rerolls from 14 to 10. So Frequent Flyers is, once you've rolled now 10 times, you get all of your subsequent rerolls will only cost 1. Gifts from the Fallen stats given 5 to 4, okay. Reasonable. Glacial Breeze, HP shield down by 5%, huge. Idealism bonus damage down 5%, huge. Infusion mana per 5 seconds, 15 to 20, huge buff for infusion. Unsure how much more this will be played. Jeweled Lotus 2, crit chance up. Okay, long distance pals, shared stats. Nerf makes sense. Loving Invocation, AP per cast down. Martyr healing down. Medium end shopping now grants 3 gold, okay. Morning Light getting nerfed, so the bashing column's a little bit weaker again. Overcharged mana, starting bonus mana down, and takedown bonus mana is also down. This is huge. Overcharged mana front. Just overcharged mana, isn't it? Like overcharged mana front. Huge for sorcerer comp. So nerfing that, taking the ceiling down a bit. Pandora's items 2 grants 2 item components, grants 1 item component. Okay, that's pretty big. Ravenous Hunter, AP and AD per stack up, so this Ravenous Hunter should be the Warwick. Augment, return on investment rerolls to activate 25 to 22. After 22 rerolls, you get a Tactician's Crown. No longer called Fawn or Force. Sentinel Spirit, attack speed, okay, nerf, makes sense. Scrappy Inventions now converts a maximum of 4 components, okay. I don't remember what it is right now, maybe it's 3. Scoped Weapons attack speed up. Scoped Weapons is now. Shimmer Inventor's attack speed per gold up. Shimmer Inventor's max attack speed down. Stable Evolution, nerf. Stars Are Born additionally grants 3 gold. I don't know if this is enough. Stelicorn's Blessing attack speed. Huge buff, so they're really trying to push Targon this patch, I guess. Even though they nerfed Aphelios. Spoils of War drop chance, okay, up. The boss, stats, tons of stats, HP and stats, down by 11 and 1. Not bad. Total Domination, base execute is getting buffed, but each stack is getting nerfed. And I believe it can go up to 7 stacks, so it went from 6 plus 14, 20 to now 8 plus 7, so 15. So you lose 5% at the end of the day. Too healthy, getting nerfed, okay. Trade Sector, grants 2 gold. Sure. Unified Resistance getting nerfed. Ancient Archives, light buff, you get more gold. Birthday Presents additionally grants 1 gold when you level up. Okay. Built different, 3 attack speed getting nerfed. Yep. Caretaker's Chosen, as you level, gain more powerful items. At level 4, gain a component anvil. At level 6, gain a completed anvil. At level 8, open a radiant item armory. So, that means if you like prismatic hobbies and you like Earth and you want to scale and hit level 8, get a radiant item armory for free. Not bad. Endless Hordes, plus 3 maximum team size, but units can only hold 1 item and their total health is reduced by 40%. Gain 2 gold. Sure. Final Reserves gold is going from 25 to 40. So right now Final Reserves grants, I believe, 80 EXP and 25 gold. So now grant 80 EXP and 40 gold. Huge. Hedge Fund getting buffed at all levels to get more gold. Living Forge, Gives an Orin item anvil instead of a random Orin artifact. That's huge. Right now, it's completely random at the start of the game and 10 turns later and 10 turns after that if the game lasts that long. But getting an Orin anvil? Gee. That's huge. Lucky gloves reduce some of the less desirable component combinations. Huge. March of Progress starting XP from 10 to 3. That is also pretty big. That means that I don't know what the intervals are going to be after that, but that's pretty huge. Right now, the interval is that if you pre-leveled and 1 turn after Raptors, you'll hit level 8. But with this, it's going to be, I guess, regardless of pre-level or not, you're always going to hit level 8 at around 5-3, maybe? 5-5? No, you're delayed by 2 turns, so 5-3, I guess you're guaranteed. 5-2. Spoils of War drop chance, yeah, they're buffing Spoils of War. It's still probably not going to be great just because it doesn't give combat stats and you're trying to win streak. Major loot drops occur slightly faster. Starter kit no longer grants a component, reasonable. Still grants a tier 4, which is kind of big. Wandering Trainer gold 1 to 4, okay. What the Forge HP per artifact 100 to 160. I still feel like What the Forge is still too for fun without Pandora's items. If you don't know what the Forge does, it basically transforms all of your completed items into Orin items, and all your future completed items will also turn into Orin items. New items, okay, so Bramble Vest. Cooldown buff. Chalice of Power starting mana 30 to 45. Power MR 45. Okay, so they're just buffing Chalice of Power except for the AP that it gives. Guinsoo's Rageblade base attack speed 10% to 18%. Guinsoo's Rageblade attack speed per auto 5% to 4%. So they're buffing the initial attack speed it gives, but they're nerfing the attack speed per auto. Ionic Spark mana ratio shock 185 to 160, so there's a nerf to Ionic Spark. Jeweled Gauntlet AP buff. Locket shield value, huge nerf. Huge nerf. 120 HP nerf at level 1. 150 at level 2. 180 at level 3, and at level 4 it's like a 560 HP nerf for every single unit. Locket of the Iron Solar shield duration is also going down by 11 seconds. So basically, they're just gutting Locket because they don't want people to keep playing Bastion with infinite Lockets, infinite value. Lassos for armor shred duration going down. Protector's Vow armor and MR granted going down. Spear of Shojin up. Spear of Shojin up. Zeke's Herald 80 to wear up. Zeke's Herald attack speed down. Okay. So they're really trying to not have people stack Zeeks. They're trying to get more people to play AP, Chalice buffs, the Jewel Gauntlet buffs, Orin, Forge, and Radiant items. Anima Visage getting buffed. Huge. Wow, Anima Visage giving 500 HP is basically the same as Wall Crusher almost, isn't it? Deathfire Grass debuff duration is extended. Eternal Winter attack slows 10% minus. Thank God. Eternal Winter health getting buffed though. So it's a 10% decrease in attack speed slow, but health is increased by a decent chunk. Infinity Force HP going up like crazy. Locket of Targon. Prim, Radiant. Oh, it's the Locket. It's Radiant. Locket of the Iron Solari getting nerfed. Sniper's Focus attack speed getting gutted. Sniper's Focus Bug Fix no longer a unique item. Radiant Bramble nerfed. Radiant Chalice buff. Radiant Chalice buff. Edge of Night Radiant. Oh, buff. Interesting. Radiant Gargoyles buff. Radiant Guardbreaker nerf. Radiant Ginsu's buff to base attack speed, but nerf to attack speed per auto. Radiant Jeweled Gauntlet buff. Radiant Locket shield value. What is Locket of the Iron Solar versus Locket of Targon Prim? Oh, interesting. Radiant Quicksilver attack speed nerf. Okay. Radiant Runans AD buff. Radiant Shroud HP buff. Radiant Shroud Team starting mana. Is that a buff or a nerf? I can't tell. Radiant Spear, buff. Radiant Spear, buff. Radiant Titans, nerf. Radiant Zeke's, buff. Radiant Zeke's, buff. Radiant Zeke's, nerf on attack speed that it grants, but AD and HP are up. Radiant Zephyr, HP up. Alright, so now small changes. Small like Azir is now? What? Azir is now slightly smaller. Huh. Ultron shots from comeuppance are now considered attacks for items like Shiv, Ginsu's, Titans, etc. Okay. Cho'Gath is bigger. Cho'Gath size grows per stack of Feast. Has been slightly increased. Okay, so Cho'Gath is getting bigger and bigger. Jinx shots from her fish bones are now considered attacks for items. Okay. Nasus is now slightly larger. So they made Azir smaller, Nasus larger, Cho'Gath larger. Augments. All natural text update to specify it only works on champions. Okay. Gifts from above has been renamed to Spectral Supplies. Sure. Shoplifting. After the first shop refresh, start of each turn. Oh, interesting. Oh, sure. The start of each turn. Winds of War, Galio, text update to specify that deals damage based on his maximum health, not his targets. Okay, so this is not actually a change, it's just a text update. Lesser Jeweled Gauntlet now has a new indicator VFX. Lesser Jeweled Lotus indicator now shows up during the planning phase. Okay, that's good. So Lesser Jeweled Lotus, you know which unit will be getting the buff. Aatrox's tooltip now clearly explains his conversion of bonus attack speed to AD. Physical spells that have base damage now display that damage scales off ability power as well in the upper tooltip. Okay. Bug fixes. Neural pruning. Early education stacks no longer reset when you start a unit. Great. Atrophy. Endurance training stacks no longer reset when you start a unit. Okay. Think slower. Think fast can no longer appear on an augment reroll. That's huge. Dream skill items now correctly track total gold. Enemy visitors no longer heals during planning phase. Closing the box fix a rare bug where you could be offered multiple Pandora's item augments. Oh! So this bug actually occurred in one of my games. Not to me, but to someone else, and they said it in chat. I didn't realize that that was a bug, but that's interesting. Fixed a bug where Salvage Bin could delete a completed item rerolled by Pandora's. Yikes. Cassiopeia, Katarina, and Teemo now display the correct amount of healing reduction in their tooltips. Fix the bugs where Kled could execute targets outside the original threshold. Baron's bonus health modifier in stage 5 is now intended 100% instead of 95%. Fix pumping up 1, 2, so output matches the tooltip. Rooted in place, fixed a bug with Godwillow's Grove that would cause units to permanently unsellable and uncombinable. Yeah, I saw this on Kyun's stream. Fixed an error in Final Grab Back 2's tooltip. Fixed a bug where Demacia couldn't roll any item if a regular version was already equipped. Oh, interesting. Double up, Piltover, okay. Broken Royal Lineage, Pandora's Box will no longer reroll Crown of Demacia. Oh. Oh. Fixed text mistake on Poppy's ability. Fixed a bug where a unit in Godwillow's Grove where the player died would make the unit unmovable and uncombinable for anyone else. Fixed a bug where 2 targets casting at the same time negates all damage. What the? Huh. Selling a Zon-modded unit no longer deletes items if your item bench is almost full. That's good. Augment rerolls now work in hyper roll. Shimmer scale items now. The Sun Disc and Double Up will now travel. Fix the bug where 9 to 12 energy TX would drop 1 less 3 cost than intended, and 13 to 17 would drop 1 more 3 cost than intended. Idolizer now works with Radiant Hand of Justice. Okay, good to know. Fix the bug that caused your game to crash when inspecting Zarya with Chem Mod. Legend augment value on matchup. Fix the bug with floating text. Fix the bug with orange legend on menu showing incorrect information. Viego's spell would lock out enemy units from moving or attacking. That's kind of big. Shuriman now correctly determines strongest Shurimans. Above her Shadow Isle's emblem was being deleted by Salvage Bin. Wow, I'm glad I never took Salvage Bin. Looks like this thing was just deleting items left and right. Wandering Trainer augment could cause multiple TXs to spawn. Okay, similar to the Godwillow bug from PvE. Ionians were losing their stats when units were summoned. This is huge because during the first live patch, if you had a ZZ Rot portal, then your Ionia units would start losing their stats. bug to ensure the Earth Legend makes its correct SFX. Okay. Samurai Duel Arena was covered blocked by mobile UI elements. The bug where Gotta Go Fast is not giving the correct amount of extra mana. Dinosaurs aren't afraid to Ghost. TX now probably casts his ability on Ghost armies. Long distance pals calculations no longer depend on unit size. What the hell? Okay. Cutting corners now displays the correct XP value at all times. Vladimir Legend now works correctly in double up. 4-star Yordles are now getting the correct amount of bonus HP from items and augments. Were they not before? I guess they weren't. Shadow Isles are now always granted a shield during combat. Poggers. Okay, so that was patch 13.13. It'll be interesting to see how the meta shapes up, especially considering that even like near the end of the current patch, the meta actually got shaken up. So it'll definitely be interesting to see. I mean, let me know down in the comments below what rank y'all climbed up to and what comps you used, and if you like any of the changes, if you hate any of the changes, like let me know what your thoughts are on this patch. And I'll be streaming weekdays, weekends, maybe a little more sporadically this upcoming week due to some personal things, but I'll be uploading more YouTube videos. If you haven't seen my previous ones, then make sure to check them out. As always, don't forget to leave a like and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one.